Next, a burst pipe forces a school in London to close as the new boss of Thames Water is grilled by MPs. Tonight, Thames Water bosses quizzed by MPs over customer bills. As their spills and leaks are still causing chaos, we're at a school that was forced to shut today when a burst pipe left them without water.
We have a huge company in Thames Water who get paid a lot of money to make sure that the water infrastructure works. And yet, here we are today. We have to close the school because we've got no running water.
Also ahead, a serious crash involving teenagers as a Lamborghini hits a Royal Mail van. The parents behind Natashas Law check out how schools can be allergen-free, and how the comedian Kerry Godlinman is growing confidence for people who've been homeless. Good evening. The temporary bosses of Thames Water have been in charge for just 2 weeks. In that time, they faced questions about whether the company will survive, overseen millions of pounds in fines for dumping millions of litres of undiluted sewage into rivers, and yesterday they apologised to customers. Today, they were grilled by MPs and promised bills won't go up, despite the company paying interest on its huge debts. In a moment, we'll have a report from a school in southeast London that sent children home today after a burst water pipe in the road left it without water. But first, Sam Holder reports on how the water bosses faced up to their critics after capturing the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
Thames Water fined more than £3 million for pumping millions of litres of undiluted sewage.
Public health is at risk because of the sheer amount of sewage in our rivers.
The company that supplies millions of Londoners is possibly on the brink of collapse.
What on earth is going on at Thames Water?
That is the question customers, campaigners and now MPs are asking. 600 million litres of clean water lost through leaks every day. 8,000 sewage spills last year. A £3 million fine for turning a Gatwick stream black, killing thousands of fish, and then trying to mislead the Environment Agency about what happened. Last month, Thames Water's CEO walked out. This morning, the new management was hauled in front of a House of Commons committee. And the new joint boss warned that despite Thames Water's poor performance, prices will be going up for customers in 2024.
There is no doubt, and Thames is not alone here, there is no doubt that there is a substantial need for more investment in the sector as a whole, including in Thames. That will need to be funded, and it is an unfortunate truth that the only source of ultimate funding for that in the current model is the customer.
Thames Water has £14 billion of debt. CEO Catherine Ross used to be the CEO of Ofwat, the regulator of the water industry and responsible for scrutinising Thames Water, a point not lost on the committee.
With hindsight, would you like to apologise to the taxpayer for being here and potentially putting them in this position where yet again another regulated market could potentially collapse and expose taxpayers to billions of pounds?
I think if you're asking for an apology from Ofwat, I think you should...
Asking for an apology from you, Ms Ross?
No, I won't apologise for my role as the Chief Executive as Ofwat, no.
Okay.
Fergal Shah an apology. He wants a change in the rules. Best known as the lead singer of the Undertones, now he uses his voice to campaign for clean water.
Catherine Ross also personally signed Thames Water's operating licence when she was Chief Executive of Ofwat, the regulator. The truth is, there should be an implicit obligation and indeed bar of that level of executive turnaround.
For customers, the prospect of paying more is hard to accept. Last night, Fraser's water suddenly turned brown. 18 hours later, it's still dirty.
Genuinely don't understand how they can justify putting up the price of water. To me, it doesn't make sense. Why am I paying for something that they have got wrong?
Thames Water accept there is a lot they've got wrong and that they are cleaning up their act. But the company says it will take billions more pounds to stay afloat. Sam Holder, ITV News.
Well, the poor infrastructure for Thames Water's pipes causes chaos all over the capital. A Lewisham school this morning was forced to close after a burst water pipe meant they had no running water. The latest Londoners to be caught up in Thames Water's troubles. Daniel Henry reports.
A school without water is a school without children. No toilets, you can't wash your hands. What's going on?
Well, it's a human right that you have to go to the toilet, so the schools have to shut down. And some parents, they're just at work really far away, so some kids have to stay here for like hours just waiting there for their parents to come, and it's a big nuisance.
Today, the kids at this South London primary got to finish the day early, thanks to Thames Water.
It's like I'm happy about it, because today I didn't really want to go to school.
I'm hoping that when I get home I've got some water, which is up the road.
We do get a lot of water problems, it seems like, around here.
Really?
Yeah, and I think in the same place as well last year. It looked like the cobbles had all split open.
They're at the behest of whatever Thames Water does or doesn't do. So we're going to wait to see if they can open school again tomorrow, but if they can't, they can't. It's just not safe.
Parents were told the water supply to this street and this school had stopped.
Fantastic.
So staff and pupils were sent home.
So the taps definitely aren't running, hot or cold, it doesn't matter. And because of all of that, we've got an empty school. There's no running water in a part of London. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, it's baffling, isn't it? Because, you know, we have a huge company in Thames Water who get paid a lot of money to make sure that the water infrastructure works. And I know that, especially at this point in time when we're in a financial crisis, that I've got families that are finding it difficult to put food on their tables, let alone to pay for a service that doesn't always work.
When we contacted Thames Water, they apologised to staff and students at Beecroft Garden Primary School and any other customers in the area. But by the time their engineers had turned up, the school day had already gone down the drain. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
Well, Sam Holder's here now. Sam, another tough day for Thames Water, and we heard about fears for rationing in London. How likely is that to happen?
Well, Carolyn, there's been a lot of talk about rationing, and that is because a clean water charity called River Action gave evidence to the London Assembly and said that based on their research, they believe that rationing water in London isn't something that's 20 or 30 or 40 years away. It's something that's imminent, and that is because they believe it's due to the amount of water wasted every day by Thames Water, about 600 million litres, and overuse. And they say that they've seen that the streams which supply London's water supply are very low. So how likely is it? That's what you asked. Well, we put these claims to Thames Water, and they've come back and told us that they have no plans at the moment to limit water in the future.
OK, Sam, thanks. That's good to know. Thank you. 4 teenagers and 2 adults are in hospital after a Lamborghini crashed with a Royal Mail van in Beckton. The dramatic crash happened at around 7:30 last night when the passengers in the car were believed to be on their way to a school prom. The injuries aren't thought to be life-threatening. Rags Martell's report contains pictures from the moments leading up to the crash.
Beckton last night. A speeding car is seen overtaking, then goes into the lane with oncoming traffic and collides with a van. This clip has gone viral for both the shocking speed of the crash, but also the luck of those involved, thought to be 4 teenage students, and the car, a Lamborghini, worth £170,000. And this is what the aftermath looked like. Into the night, 6 ambulance crews, 2 paramedics and a helicopter were at the scene. The Lamborghini driven by a man in his 20s and colliding with a Royal Mail van. The postie is said to be in his 40s.
Police say 6 people were taken to hospital, but remarkably, despite the force of the impact, none of their injuries are said to be serious or life-threatening.
This afternoon, marks on the road show where the collision took place. People who live here say they're used to people driving fast.
You get cars with modified exhausts, and people showing off.
Well, we hear most of it, just people going around. Don't know if they're meeting up or...
Well, people in fast cars just driving them fast in the car park.
Yeah.
Police have made no arrests so far, but say their inquiries are ongoing. Rags Martel, ITV News, Beckton.
A 3-year-old boy is in hospital after falling from a window in Chadwell Heath. The toddler fell from the second floor of the home in Westfield Gardens on Monday evening and was airlifted to a hospital in East London. Police say his injuries are not life-threatening and no one has been arrested. A primary school in Walthamstow has been raising awareness of the dangers of allergens. Thorpe Hall Primary has introduced a weekly allergy-free school lunch. And today, the parents of Natasha, Edna and Laperouse visited the school. Natasha was 15 when she died after having a severe allergic reaction to a baguette whose ingredients weren't listed fully. Sesame seeds had been baked into the dough. At the inquest into her death, her parents, Tanya and Nadim, heard the coroner conclude that Natasha wouldn't have eaten the baguette if the seeds had been included on the label. Well, since Natasha's death in 2016, her parents campaigned to change the law around food labelling. In 2021, they succeeded, with Natashas Law coming into force across the UK. And now retailers are required to display all the ingredients and allergens in every food item made on the premises and packaged up. Well, Tanya and Nadim join me now. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us again. Tell us a bit more about what the school is doing.
Well, the school came up with this incredible initiative that one day a week, on a Wednesday, they would introduce all the food to the children to be allergen-free. That's from the top 14 allergens. And this was so that the children with food allergies could feel included and they wouldn't have to sort of go and collect their own special meal, sit down sometimes at a separate table with lanyards, just always being excluded, but all the children can eat the same food together.
And it's working, isn't it? It's raising awareness, Nadine.
Well, what we saw today was tremendous, actually. It was really made us really smile because, of course, Natasha, our own daughter, when she was growing up, she didn't have that option available to her. Her schools were not able to cook any food at all that was safe for her, so she lived an entire 15 years of her life with packed lunches made at home, taken to school. But the school we saw today, tremendous, and they were actually preparing very tasty food with a range of options and choices for the entire school that was allergen-free. And we were there amongst the children, talking to them and enjoying the food with them, and it was very tasty.
It was, yeah, and we've got some reactions from some of those children, because let's face it, they're the best judge of it. This is what they had to say.
I think it's really nice, and I respect the dinner ladies' food, what they make for us.
My favourite part about the food is that it's so sweet and delicious. It's also really, really good for your body.
I just like the food. It's just good.
I eat it every time it's out. It's the best.
That's what you want to hear, isn't it?
Definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. And it is sweet to hear their reaction, but actually, do you think all schools should have allergy-free meals as a matter of course?
I think it shows that cooking for children with food allergies has come a long way. And where there's a will, there's a way now. There's science is there. And I think with more and more children in schools, we hear that there are up to 2 children now in every class, in every school across the country with a food allergy. And so this is a really good initiative. And if it could spread throughout the country, it could only be a good thing.
And what more do you think does need to be done, Nadim, to protect children with severe allergies? What else can be done?
I think broadly, I think what we've seen through the work of the charity is actually the children and the parents know exactly what their children are allergic to, for example, in terms of food. However, the people around them often don't take the food allergy seriously and don't truly understand that it can be life-threatening and certainly lead to serious hospitalisation. And we're not trying to dramatise this, but actually the best way often to take care of people in society who have a particular condition is to understand their condition. And by understanding, that changes the behaviour of people around you, and therefore they're much more able to be compassionate and help you and understand and avoid, therefore, potential risks that might happen as a result of being ignorant or not understanding the situation at all.
Exactly. Oh, Nadim and Tanya, thanks very much indeed for coming in again, and good luck with your future campaigning as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, still to come on the programme, green fingers at work when Kerry met Sally, and...
Where are you? Karnak, on the beach? I don't know where that is, but it doesn't sound like London.
A comedian doing her bit for Anglo-French relations. But first, to a shopping centre in Croydon, so well hidden, even people who live nearby don't know it's there. St George's Walk shopping parade has been there since the 1960s. A new development started 5 years ago hasn't finished, and there's still protective scaffolding around the stores. Out of sight and also out of mind is not good for business, as Antoine Allen reports.
Did you know St George's Walk is open? The historical shopping arcade's businesses are hidden under scaffolding and surrounded by unfinished building works.
It was swarming with people, but now since that's closed down, you don't hardly get anybody because that's closed down and this end is closed down.
In 2018, half of St George's Walk was demolished to make way for a new public square and tower blocks, but for years works have stalled. The shop owners say they are facing closure due to customers believing their businesses have disappeared. Dennis Single owns 5 units here. The lack of footfall led him to close down his barbershop and cafe.
We can't afford to pay to the staff and then afford to pay our rent and other things as well.
So you feel like your days are numbered if you don't get some help?
Yes, if you don't have enough income, so it means it's going to be a nightmare for you.
As the number of customers decreased, the level of antisocial behaviour and graffiti increased. Mohsin Akbari believes the neglected areas meant potential customers are surprised his shop is still open.
They say, oh, we thought this place is closed. They have no clue that this place is still accessible.
Mohsin, as you can see, there's lots of graffiti here. Do you feel like this area is being neglected?
Yes, because those graffiti on and on and over, all the window shutter you see, this badly messed all the time. When we remove them again, it's come back again.
From the construction behind to the scaffolding in front, this once historic arcade has been turned into nothing more than a shortcut for the few people that still know it exists. This smashed phone booth is symbolic of the businesses here who have a desperate call for help. R&F Properties own the building that is cloaked in scaffolding and overshadowing St George's Walk. As of yet, R&F Properties have not provided a comment to ITV News. The Executive Mayor of Croydon issued this statement. I have met personally with the owner of this key town centre site to get it redeveloped for the benefit of the local businesses and residents. I will continue with these discussions to get things moving. The unanswered question these businesses would like to know is whether they'll be around long enough to see R&F Properties finish their development. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Now next, a comedian who loves to poke a bit of fun at the differences between the French and us Brits. Here's a sketch of a boss having a bit of trouble over the summer.
I don't believe that I approved any holiday for you in August. It is August, huh? So we take holiday. You know, work doesn't stop just because it's August. I don't understand. Just like any other month, really, you keep working. Moi, j'y vais, hein, parce que là, je suis en vacances. I will see you in September.
Well, her TikTok videos have been seen 50 million times, so no surprise Tatty McLeod is now planning her next stand-up tour, and I'm very pleased to say she's here with me now. Thanks very much for coming in. So where did the idea to have this sort of French versus British culture sketch come from?
Well, I grew up in France, so I'm very well versed when it comes to French culture. And I started doing some stand-up for sort of a French group in London. And I found that they really, really enjoyed it. And then obviously during the pandemic, I say obviously because I had a lot of time on my hands and we couldn't do live stand-up anymore, I decided to start doing it, but online this time.
I love your observations. I mean, that's what good comedy is about, isn't it? But what is it? Do you think that us Brits, are we too uptight? Are we over polite? What do you see?
I try and boil it down to one word. I mean, it's much more nuanced than that, but let's just go with one word. And the word I always come back to is this idea of moderation. I don't think British people really have any. The English in particular, you know, we're not a moderate nation of people. We're the kind of people who we do dry Jan and then we're drenched the rest of the year. That's sort of how we approach things. Whereas in France, they're much better at just having one biscuit, one small piece of chocolate, and I think there's really something in that in terms of cultural difference.
Maybe civilised is the word, but I don't want to say that. But of course, you've lived in Stoke Newington for 10 years. You did all your actor training here. What would you say the differences are between, like, say, Londoners and Parisians? Have you seen any difference there?
Yes, big differences. I mean, I'm not a Parisian, so apologies to Parisians. I don't want to say anything too rude about them, but the thing about Londoners I think is really wonderful is that we're really good at laughing at ourselves. Like, if you say to a Londoner, London's not great, a lot of Londoners will say, yeah, I know, it's terrible, it's really awful, I don't know why I live here. If you say to a Parisian that Paris is not great, I mean, you will get punched with a baguette. Like, it's really not going to go down well.
And you're starting stand-up. You've done stand-up already, and you've got a new one coming up.
Yes.
That's very different to doing kind of sketches on TikTok, isn't it?
It is. It's a completely different skill. Fortunately, I was already doing stand-up before I started doing online content. So when I came out of the pandemic and I started actually doing live shows, I had all of that skill to sort of fall back on. So now it's a great medium where I've got the online audience, but I do, thankfully, already have a lot of experience in doing live stand-up.
And is it a lot more risky when you're live on stage?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can have some not very nice comments on the videos, but you can opt not to read them. You can't opt out of heckles. You can't opt out of people not laughing. But equally, it's an amazing thrill when it goes well.
Oh, it is brilliant. And we need more female comedians, very much so. And Tatty, the whole time we've been chatting, our weather presenter, Sally, has been listening in. And I know that she's definitely always up for a laugh, aren't you, Sally?
I love the segue, Carolyn.
Thank you.
I have to say, I think comedy must be the most terrifying thing. So I take my hat off to you. And I hear what you say about moderation. Well, I'm not so good at that. Oh, no. I tried dry January. I think I managed it once. But, you know, I've been pregnant 3 times, so I did my bit.
That's something.
Do you like gardening, Tatty? Does that, like, bring you down? Have you tried gardening?
I mean, with the size of my flat in London, I can't really claim to be very green-fingered. But sure, I've got a basil plant.
Well, that's all you need. You're in. You get the prize. I've been doing a bit of gardening today because St Mungo's charity, which help with homelessness, have this fabulous garden in Clapham, and a few others as well. And people go there to help them sort of recover. And the comedian Kerry, Godlinman, who you know might know from Afterlife, who did some gardening videos for us during lockdown, she went to take a look and to spread the love of gardening. Let's take a little look.
I don't really know what I've done wrong. I've always done something wrong.
I wonder if it was the lack of rain in June.
Yeah, it's not my fault. Someone else's fault.
Comedian Kerry Godlinman is used to seeing the funny side of life, but even she has her limits in the garden.
Oh, well done.
What's your biggest pest in the garden?
Slugs. I hate them. And I don't want to hate them because everybody's welcome, but not them. They're not welcome. And they ruin it. I'm not allowed dahlias, it seems, because
they spoil all the fun.
They just spoil all the dahlias. I'm like...
Thankfully then, just bees here today in Clapham at a garden that St Mungo's used to help people recover from homelessness or other problems.
You're a master composter, I gather.
I am.
So is there some secret tips you can give me?
Avid gardener Kerry hasn't just come for advice, but rather to see how it's helped people like Lily, who used to struggle with alcohol. She's now known as the Queen of Compost.
The main thing was when I started here, I couldn't cope with being around people.
Yeah.
And compost was just a place where I could be on my own.
Quiet corner, compost corner.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. It made pals with... There's a little robin there that always comes, and it's come closer to me.
The pleasure
so
of the
many
worms.
Kerry is known for TV shows such as Afterlife with Ricky Gervais, but during lockdown she also did a gardening video for us showing how much it helped her through that time.
Got a squash in there. I just couldn't wait any longer. I know it's a bit early, but I just thought I'm going for it. I'm just going to get a squash in. It gives you a sense of connection to the earth. It gives you a sense of bigger things. It made me feel like I had a job to do, a sense of purpose.
This garden for Lily has been...
kind of life-changing, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
The project is called Putting Down Roots, and in a nutshell, this is how it can help.
I think if people learn to nurture plants, it helps them to nurture themselves.
And how are your beans looking?
Well, I haven't done beans this year, and I'll tell you why. Because when I've done beans in the past, I don't harvest them because they're so pretty. I'm not brilliant at harvesting. I just leave things. I'm like, oh, look, I grew that. And then
it goes to show gardening has endless gifts, sometimes where you don't expect them.
Oh, she's lovely, isn't she? You love gardening, don't you? How's the allotment going?
Oh, Carolyn, are you sitting comfortably? Well, loads of currants. They're doing brilliantly, and the rhubarb's still going strong. Potatoes are coming up, although the leaves look a bit funny. But wildflowers this year, I don't know if anyone else has had this problem. They're just a bit disappointing. And I asked the gardener today, and he reckoned it was to do with the dry weather that we had in June and maybe some in May as well. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm not an expert, but I love it, and it's good for you. Here's the weather.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. I hope you had a lovely day. The weather's not what I call glorious at the moment, but we've had worse. We've got another day of some sunshine and some showers tomorrow, but fewer showers, so some of you might get away with a completely dry day. Temperatures are about average. It feels quite nice in the sun, but it is turning wet and windy as we go through Friday and a bit changeable for the weekend. Let's take a look at the pressure chart, and you can see that as we head through to Friday, these two areas of low pressure start to come together, and that is what's bringing us some wet and windy weather on Friday, and possibly the chance of some thunderstorms on Saturday. Sunday at the moment not looking as wet, still the chance of showers. It's all still to play for, so keep an eye on the forecast. As for this evening, you can see those showers fading away. Some nice evening sunshine, hopefully, if you've managed to see those showers off. And overnight, things generally drying up. A bit like last night, it'll feel a little bit fresher, not too stuffy, those temperatures down to the low teens. And then as we start tomorrow, hopefully a decent one, some sunshine to begin the day, bit of cloud then bubbling up, and again a few showers. The odd ones could be a bit heavy around lunchtime, but as I said, some of you will avoid them. They do tend to retreat off to the east as we go through the day. Less breezy, and temperatures doing all right in the sun, highs of 20 to 23 degrees. And then into the evening, as those showers again continue to fade, hopefully you'll get some evening sunshine, worth making the most of it, because Friday evening is not looking so nice. A dry start, but then things start to go downhill as we go into the afternoon from the west, and staying unsettled into Saturday. As I said, the chance of some downpours and thunderstorms. Temperatures okay when you get the sun. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
And that's it from us. The ITV News at 6:30 is up next with Lucrezia. But for now, from all of us on the London team, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.